What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. I am pleased to introduce to you the Naxeon I AM electric motorcycle. I am super excited to be able to review this version of the Naxeon. If you follow my channel, a few months back I reviewed the Naxeon I AM Pro, which is, let's say, the older, more angry version of this bike. As far as the size goes and all of the technology, it's pretty much the same. The only difference between the two, between the I AM Pro and the regular I AM, is battery size, power, top speed, and weight. This version of the I AM, let's call it the I AM Lite, was introduced to Europe first, and now they finally brought it into the US at a very, very attractive price. In this review, I'm going to go over the main differences between the two bikes. As I mentioned, I already reviewed the I AM Pro, so if you're interested in that, I'll have a link in the description, which you can check out. I'm going to get to top speed, riding experience, and all that other stuff very soon, but first, let's start with the specs. So this is the Naxeon I AM street legal electric motorcycle. It features a massive 8.5 kilowatt peak power hub motor in the rear, coupled with a 72 volt 63 amp hour battery with an impressive 4.6 kilowatt hours. Naxeon claims that this should give you a range of 75 miles depending on riding mode and riding conditions, of course. The front tire is a 17-inch 110 by 70 with a massive rear tire that's 17-inch 140 by 60. We also have motorcycle style brakes front and rear with a massive rotor and ABS. This is an amazing feature. In the front we have an interesting and unique suspension design with 104 millimeters of travel. In the rear we have a rear shock with 60 millimeters of travel. This motorcycle also has a very large, comfortable seat. In the front, we have a beautiful headlight with a halo, low beam and high beam, as well as turn signals. And in the rear, we have our active brake light and turn signals as well. The total weight of this bike comes in at 285 pounds. And up on the handlebars, we have our throttle, our front brake, a bunch of buttons which I will explain later. In the center, we have a massive color touchscreen with all of the information you'll ever need. And on the left side, we have our rear brake, our turn signals, hazard lights, headlight switch, and a horn. Alright, and that is pretty much it for the specs. Now, as far as looks, this thing is absolutely beautiful. To me, it's like if Tesla and Apple got together and made a motorcycle, this is what it would look like. Now, it comes in 4 colors, same with the I AM Pro, they come in the same color schemes. And when I saw the white originally, the other color, this like bluish purple, looked more purple online. I must say that in real life, this thing is absolutely gorgeous in white. It just suits the bike so well. The previous version that I've tested, the I AM Pro, was in the gray model, which is also beautiful, but this white is stunning. On the way here, I've had so many people break their necks and like pointing and stuff at this bike. It is a head turner for sure. Okay, let's move on. Before we jump on the bike, just a few things that I want to show you and go over on the handlebars. We won't go as in much detail as I did on the I AM Pro because it's literally the same thing. As I mentioned earlier, the main difference over here is the weight, the battery size, and that's where the weight difference comes from. The power, the peak power, which affects the top speed. So those are the 4 main differences in this bike. And I forgot to mention also the price. The price is different, and you might be surprised because this thing is going for $4,999 in the electric motorcycle space. That is a crazy, ridiculous price for all the things you're getting here. Absolutely insane, and plenty of power too. I will show you that soon. Alright, so I want to show you the starting procedure, and I really hope you guys can see the screen well because it's very difficult filming outside when it's really, really bright. But this bike comes with 2 NFC cards, which are right here, and the way to turn the bike on is simply by putting the card up to this NFC reader and the bike will turn on. Let me see if I can change the screen brightness for you guys. There it is. Hopefully that helps, but I'm not going to go into as much detail as I did with the I AM Pro because it's literally the same thing. If you guys are interested in all of the features that this bike has, I highly suggest checking out that I AM Pro review. I go into extreme detail, but just to go over some of the things. So we have turn signals, left, right, a horn, hazard lights, headlight. Over here there's a flick button for your high beam. Over on the right side we have a plus and minus button. These are also buttons for record and favorite. This bike does have a front camera which can record your rides, which is pretty crazy. You can just click this and it will record it, and then you can favorite your favorite recordings. Over here on the bottom is our park button. When you are on the bike, it's gonna be in park mode. You gotta hit this P to go into drive. Now it's on snail mode right now, which means it won't really go. There is a seat sensor, so if I press down on it, there you go, it enabled it. I want to show you this R button, which is the reverse. If I hit that, there's also a rear view camera that turns on, and it's pretty interesting. We'll put it back into park. This middle button right here is kind of like a custom button. You can make it do a few different things. I chose to make this switch between the modes. There are 3 riding modes. The first one, slowest one, is called sail. The second one is dynamic, and the fastest one is called zigzag. We're gonna test those shortly. Now, as far as over here, this interface is a touch screen where you can switch between all the pages. You can connect this and link this to your phone, and you can have built-in GPS. You can see a bunch of statistics on the battery, your mileage, charging, stuff like that. It's pretty crazy. This is the whole camera situation. Here's our front camera, see that? And you can record and access your recordings. And then there's a settings page that literally looks like an iPhone settings page. There's so many things you can go through here. Again, you guys are interested in that, check out my other review. I'll have a link in the description. And that is pretty much it for the screen stuff. I wanted to make it brief. Now let's jump on a bike and start riding. Alright, we are on the bike, and this screen is absolutely crazy. Wanted to show you first person view of turning this bike on. You put the key and it's pretty instant, to be honest with you. Now we are it remembers your last mode. I was in zigzag, but it won't go because we're in park. Gotta hit this button and the bike is ready to roll. Now as far as it's just so quiet. It's a hub motor, and it's it definitely has its benefit. It's so quiet to me, and I've had multiple e-bikes with hub motors. It's the ultimate electric bike experience. Yeah, I also have other bikes with mid-drive, and it has its needs or whatever, but just the hub on this is, oh man, it's crazy. Wow, the takeoff is absolutely crazy on this bike. I cannot wait to go out on the road. Wow, absolute blast. The takeoff on this thing is insane. Okay, so let's talk about the differences in the models between the Pro and the regular I AM. And there are 4. Oh my god, holy cow. Wow, gotta close my visor, it's getting windy quick. But yeah, so there are 4 main differences. 2 of them are kind of correlated. So first one being the peak power. The peak power of the I AM Pro is 10.5 kilowatts, and this is 8.5 kilowatts. And the peak power directly correlates to speed. And the I AM Pro will do 72 miles an hour, where this bike is capable of doing 65. We're going to test that shortly. The next major difference is in battery size, and the battery size does affect the weight. So battery size on the I AM Pro is a 72 volt 90 amp hour battery, This is a 72 volt 60 or 63 amp hour battery, which is still massive. But so those are the four main differences in the bikes, and obviously the price. The I AM Pro is a couple grand more expensive. Another one of the differences that I forgot to mention in the intro, it's a very subtle one, but the I AM Pro has like a light show, let's call it. It's like a sidebar LED on the side of the bike, and the regular I AM version does not have that. So just another small little minor difference, but I wanted to include that. Now, who is this bike for? Let's talk about that for a second. The differences between the I AM Pro and the I AM. Which one should you choose? To me, it boils down to like three categories. One of them would be price, obviously budget. The second one would be the speed, and the third one would be range. So if you're someone who's looking for a high top speed to 72 miles an hour and longer range at about 111 miles of range, then you definitely want to look at the I AM Pro. It is a bit more expensive, as I mentioned earlier, but that's something that you want to look at. If you don't care that much about hitting 72 miles an hour, and 65 miles an hour is enough for you, which is plenty for city commuting in my opinion, and you have a little bit of a tighter budget or want to save some money, then definitely stick with the regular I AM. Now, I will have a link in the description if you're interested in checking this bike out, and if you purchase the bike using my link, you will receive a free side bag that's worth $200. That's just like a storage bag that hangs on the side of the bike. I'll try to get a picture and show you guys, so just keep that in mind. That's a little freebie that you get if you use my link. Again, link in the description if you're interested. But let's go ahead and flip our mode to sail and see what the top speed is. Hopefully you guys can see the screen well. And bike is still pulling. It is windy, and I know it's affecting my top speed, but we're looking at, what is that, 52 miles an hour. Not bad at all for the first mode. Probably gets you to most places that you need to get to in that speed. You probably, if you're around the city, which is, by the way, this is what this bike is for. It's a city commuter. It's not meant to go too crazy. It's meant to stay within the city, and 52 miles an hour, that's more than decent. Let's switch to dynamic and see what happens over here, what kind of top speed we can get. So yeah, 52 miles an hour, that's more than enough, and that'll actually get you the most amount of range. Oh yeah, it is really windy right now. Looks like we're topping out at, oh, there's 61 miles an hour. Really nice, actually. We almost reached the top speed of this thing. And I just switched it to zigzag, which is the fastest mode, and let's see what we can get. Try to turn around over here and punch it. Oh man, the torque is so nice on this thing. Hopefully these cars won't be in the way, but we're pulling on them pretty quick. 55, 58, 60, 62, 63. Ooh, gotta lean forward. Definitely feel the wind effect. Now, we should be able to hit the top speed. There's also a boost button, which we're gonna try right now. That should be able to give us the full 65 miles an hour. I'm gonna do that in zigzag mode. Let this guy make a right, and we're gonna turn around and hit the boost button. Oh, there you go, boost enabled. Let's give it a shot. It is super windy, so I hope we'll be able to hit that speed. There's some red arrows happening on the display. You guys can see them. 63, 64, 65. Oh yeah, absolutely crazy. Man, this bike is just so much fun. It's unreal how much fun this bike is. Let's use our turn signals. Yeah, this thing is crazy. So the boost feature only lasts for roughly 10 seconds or so, 10 to 12 seconds, something like that. And then you can reuse it in another 10 seconds. So like I said, it's a city commuter. You probably use that boost more like an F1 car, where like an overtake button, where you got to use it for a little bit, merge, overtake, do something like that. But regardless, you know, 65 in our regular mode, we were hitting 63, 62, which is pretty crazy. Now, people that never experienced this, there's no other words to explain it. The feeling on a bike like this is so unique. It's so different. It's literally you and the wind noises. It is absolutely wild. It's such a blast to ride on one of these things. It is truly an experience. As I said earlier, with the hub motors, there's literally no chain, no noise. You just hear the tires on the road and the wind. And most of the time, you're not even going to hear the tires on the road because you're going to be wearing a helmet. So still, it's just crazy. Absolutely crazy. This thing just flies. Now you can see how pulling up on cars like nothing. And I'm telling you, it is so windy right now. I can feel the wind just pushing against me. Crazy. Which is another thing to consider. With wind, drag, and electric bikes, it's like an exponential thing that happens, which is pretty crazy. So just having the power to still push through just shows you how powerful this bike is. And for $5,000, that is absolutely crazy. I don't know what else to say. This thing, once you ride it or experience it, you're gonna want one. It's easy as that. It's such a unique feeling. It's so much fun. It's unbelievable. Alright, overtake boost. That's what that feature is for. Let's go. Oh man, we're in a slight uphill now, and the bike is pulling strong. Wow, I'm speechless. Now the I AM Pro was super fun, so when Naxeon asked me to review this model, I knew it's gonna be a blast. I was like, you know, no questions asked, 100% send it over. I wish I would be able to keep this bike. That would have been real nice. Now, as far as range, again, range will vary on a lot of different things. On electric vehicles, you're talking rider weight, PSI in the tires, temperature outside, road conditions, what kind of mode you're in. It's difficult to put like a hard number on it, but you're probably looking at probably between 80 to 100 miles of range. And again, if you're riding like 30, 35 miles an hour inner city streets, then you will make the range last even longer than that. And lastly, just the technology that this bike has to offer, it's definitely top of the line. I checked out the app and it's pretty intense, pretty nice. Let's see if we get away from these guys. No, oh yeah, we got a wave. We got a wave. So you're not looked at. When I ride my Tron, I rarely get a wave. We just got a wave on this thing, which is pretty cool. So yeah, where was that? I was at the app. The app is absolutely beautiful, and you can control the bike, lock it, unlock. The app also gives you very, very detailed breakdown of like range, consumption, closest charging stations, all that stuff. It's a pretty interesting app, and it looks great actually. And this bike like speaks to you in lights. That's the only way I can say it. There are so many lights that this thing does here and there, and they all have a certain meaning, and they're there for a reason. So the bike definitely communicates with the rider to let them know everything that's happening. Same goes with the I AM Pro model. Again, I don't want to be annoying, guys, but if you're interested, if you did not watch that video yet, I'll have it in the description. It's the I Am Pro model. This is the regular I Am model that was not available in the US until now, and now it's finally available in the US, and some people might find that this is the perfect bike for them. So that's the reason I'm doing this, and it's just to help. I like to help the community. I like to show things that are new, things that are happening. I'm having so much fun right now. I'm almost like sad, and the reason I'm sad is because this bike is a loaner for the review, and I have to return it, and I'm sad by that. But as far as stability, this bike is so stable. Even though it's around 300 pounds, like 295 or something like that, I'll put the exact number. It is super stable. And I just want to test one last thing before we leave. Suspension wise, suspension on this thing, I don't know if you guys can see that moving. It is super nice and plush. Very interesting design. I've never seen it before. I only seen it on Naxeon bikes, and it feels amazing. Actually, it feels really good. So that's pretty interesting. I've never seen that before, and it's just another thing that's unique about this bike. So I'm pretty sure I went over everything you need to know about the Naxeon I AM electric motorcycle. Street legal, by the way, of course. It has a VIN number and you can register it, all that good stuff. If you guys have any questions, if I missed anything, definitely leave a comment down below. I'll do my best to answer. Link in the description if you're interested in checking this bike out. But that is pretty much it for me, guys. I appreciate you guys watching as always, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace!